SS Gentleman, Dean Alejandro, and happy Thursday. Today I want to go ahead and talk about something that I've been wanting to talk about for a really, really long time. Of course, this is going to be my personal opinion, my personal experience. It has kind of had a lot of flack in the community, a lot of debates. It's caused kind of a lot of problems. So I just thought it was a good idea to really talk about it. However, I really didn't find the right timing, I guess, and I really wanted to talk about other aspects. Before I go into this, I want to go ahead and point out this awesome shirt. So, some of you may have heard, or if you didn't, I'm going to go ahead and obviously talk about it right now, the term f2m, which it basically says female to male. That's what it is, and people say either ftm or f2m. It's commonly talked about in the community, commonly talked about outside of the community. It's a popular hashtag. And as a lot of us know and have experienced, the terminology and education throughout the transgender community and, of course, the LGBTQ community, it changes. The education changes, the verbiage changes as we learn more and we are more educated, I guess. We learn that terms terms 10, 15, 20 years ago, really aren't the way to describe it now. An example, when I first got diagnosed as being transgender and gender dysphoria, which really didn't come out as gender dysphoria, I was diagnosed as transsexual. So this is kind of a similar topic as far as verbiage and really kind of talking about those, because some person may identify as that and other people may not. This is another common debate, another common issue within the community. And really last week's video talking about division within the LGBT community really brought this up. And I think that's why I wanted to follow that video with this video. So, me specifically, what do I prefer? You probably already got it by the title. I obviously prefer, not obviously I guess, but you've seen in the hashtags and stuff, I prefer F to M. I prefer female to male. And I want to go ahead, I'm going to talk about first why I describe myself and why I identify as this. And I also kind of want to briefly discuss why other people do not like this term and do not like identifying. Both reasons are completely valid, 100%. So why do I prefer the term F to M? I prefer the term because I came out when I was 27. I came out at an older age, I guess, compared to some people. And I really just, I lived so many years as that life. I lived as that person for so long. That person is not erased. That person is and was still somewhere down there, a part of me. Nothing really about me has changed except the exterior. So even though I've started a new life, I guess, and kind of started a new chapter, I have not erased those previous 27 years of my life. I was born a female. I grew up as a female through elementary school, middle school, high school. A lot of you that are here now have never seen my content. This is probably the first video that you've ever seen. So, surprise, I'm trans. If you know my dead name, please do not disclose it. And, I lived so long as that life and those experiences have turned me into more of an empathetic person, have helped me see kind of everything, right? So, to me, I identify as that because I was that, and that is applicable for me, and I don't see any problem with that. Okay, so why do people not like that term? Well, we are male. And of course, this is also going to go back to M to F, as you've seen too, in a completely different, obviously backwards. Why do people not like that term? People don't like that term. It's very obvious because we are men, trans boys. We identify as he, him, sometimes they, and we identify as that. Why would we say that we were born, a female at birth when we are men now? And we were all along. So it's like, we don't want to say that. We just are men, trans guys, trans this. Why even disclose I was born a female? Why even talk about that elephant in the room? And that's completely valid, especially for younger trans and non-binary individuals. This is really like, I know a lot of parents, I know a lot of parents of transgender kids, which is amazing to see that support and super refreshing. And, you know, under 15, they don't feel comfortable identifying as female to male. And that's 100% okay. I mean, everything is different for everyone, and everyone's transition is valid. And just because I identify a certain way and you don't, that's not a problem. So I really kind of wanted to open the door and have this conversation, especially for some of you that may not be educated and don't are confused as to why maybe you're reaching out to someone, trying to educate yourself and really being like pushed back as to the incorrect terminology, which kind of starts another issue with the divide within the community and also allies. In my experience, especially with family and people that really care about me and really genuinely wanted to understand, you know, they were afraid to ask questions. And I've touched up on this a couple times briefly in a couple different videos, but they didn't feel comfortable asking questions, but they wanted to be educated. They had no way of looking stuff up online because it's basically a black hole if you've tried. I mean, it's harder to really understand what's going on if you're not getting it from a person's experience. And realistically, not a lot of us are comfortable talking about our transition, which is completely valid. It is personal. Nobody really needs to know this, and no one needs to know, honestly. So there's a lot of people inside and outside of the community, even applicable from when I first was coming out and trying to figure it out. And they have questions, they want to ask questions, but some trans or non-binary people don't feel comfortable asking those or answering those questions, and don't want to disclose personal information, which is, like I said, valid. So they kind of push back. And by doing this, it can be an unintentional, don't ask me those questions, that's personal, and kind of come off unintentionally rude. This happens a lot in support groups online because you cannot understand the basically the context as far as text goes. You can't really get the tone, so you don't really know. It turns into passive aggression. It's a whole cycle, and then more people in the community are going against each other. And I wanted to bring this up because, like I said, I had in this one instance I want to talk about with my godmother. When I first came out, you know, and she was super supportive. She's probably still one of the most super supportive videos. I don't know if you watch this, but if you do, you're amazing, and I love you, and I'm sorry you had to get through this whole video to know that publicly. So, you know, when I was coming out, and I was very calm about it. My grandparents raised me, they're very old school, and I had no problem responding to them in my dead name. I had no problem responding to them in incorrect pronouns that didn't match my identity because I knew they still needed to grieve. I still knew that they were confused, even though they still saw me as the same person, my soul as the same person. And so my aunt, she basically asked me, I don't even remember the question now, but it was something super specific about gender and identity and pronouns, and like, I'm sorry that I called you this wrong name, but it's such a habit for such a long time. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, and kept going like that. And I was like, why are you apologizing? Like, I am so happy that you care enough to be supportive and to try to understand, but like, I need to understand, like, why are you apologizing to me trying to educate yourself? And she told me that a previous experience with someone that we know, they basically misgendered them on accident. They, being my aunt, misgendered the person on accident, or said a dead name or something on accident. Very similar situation, very similar age range. And that person got really, really upset. Rightfully so. I mean, we spent a long time transitioning and going through this and trying, you know, to figure out our identity. And once we do, and someone in our family or someone close to us says the opposite, it's kind of like at first, like, why would you do that? Like, are you intentionally doing that? And like people like my dad and stuff, like they intentionally do that. So it's really hard for us to kind of figure this out. So she told me that, and I was like, no, like, I had to explain that everyone is different. Not everyone feels comfortable talking about their transition. There's a lot of stigmas. Please never hesitate to ask me questions. Your questions are 100% valid. I appreciate you. asking those. But the thing is that not everyone is like that. Not everyone is open. So we have a lot of division in the community. And I have seen personally a lot of problems with transgender and non-binary people and allies, who allies really, really, really want to help, and transgender people really don't know how to educate them, but it's not our job to educate them. So it's just one of those really, really like weird things where some of us have to be open. And that's kind of why I've stuck with my channel and have like these open conversations, because I want you to know that if you have any question, whether you're trans, non-binary, I don't care, or an ally, come to me, ask me questions. I don't care if you're like, offend me or anything. If I don't know the answer, I will try to point you in the right direction. We cannot break the stigma unless we have these conversations. And it's very easy to, like I said, unintentionally lash out by saying this is my personal information and I don't owe you anything. And that takes the person back to, why would I ask this question? Trans people are mean. I'm just trying to help. So it's kind of just like a whole weird situation. But like I said, talking about division within the LGBTQ community and allies, also, I really just wanted to follow this up. Also, the F2m and female to male situation, not situation, but terms, I guess you'll say, which is also, like I said, applicable to M to F, male to female, same exact thing. Born a certain way, assigned a gender at birth, don't identify with it. Why would I identify with my gender assigned at birth when I am this person now? Why would I bring that dirty laundry into it? So if you identify as this, either male to female or female to male, you're 100% valid. Please do not let the community bully you into thinking you have no reason to identify as that. And vice versa. If you do not identify that way, and you identify as male, trans male, don't even want to disclose your transgender, you're 100% valid. You do not let the community bully you. Do not let people outside the community bully you. You do not owe anyone anything. And I really just want our community to kind of come together more and realize that we don't need to use our energy to fight each other. We really just need to use it to, access equal rights and take care of our trans brothers and sisters and non-binary family, and really produce good things. So I just wanted to go ahead and explain that. Next week, we will do our next alphabet series video. This video is kind of long. It's very important to me and I feel like to put it out there, but I hope everyone has a great week and a great month. But other than that, I will see you next week.